Hi, good morning. Well, all the Craftology kits were mailed. They were sent out yesterday morning, so they are on their way. By the time, of course, you see this video, you hopefully will have your kit. So what we're going to do is get started in making our travel folio. Now, I was going to have a kit available, and I had actually put one together, and then I decided to I had an extra kit. I decided to do a drawing, and then I really goofed up the drawing. So I ended up giving away 2 Craftology kits. And so I was going to use the flowers that came in your kit, but since I went ahead with mine and not raffled it off, but gave it away. I went ahead and made some flowers. You're going to have these 2 beautiful flowers, or you may have already seen them in your kit. And since I don't, I went ahead and made a couple. So they will be on the outside cover. And you will also have received, I'm trying to remember, some lace. So you might want to bring some lace down the side. And unfortunately that one lace I'm out of, so I have more coming in, but that's the only thing I won't be doing. I will be doing the little plaque thing. You have your chipboards, we'll be putting one on the front. So I'll go ahead and put those aside. So what you need to get started, so let's just look at this really quick. So if you want to follow mine, you may not even want to do it with the same designs that I chose. And actually today's is going to be a little different since I'm making another one. Now in your kit, remember I had sent out a message. The Graphic 45 is now completely out of the ephemera cards. So I did put in some extra sheets of your cut-aparts. So you'll have those in there. And then you did receive a few extra of the other papers. Now the papers and the chipboards are still available from Graphic 45. So if you want to get more of this gorgeous paper line. And then you have, of course, your seam binding. And I gave you extra for decorating. So let's get started. I'm just going to put this over to the side so I have it to look at. You know how I am. So with this folio, it's great. You can use your 8.5 by 11 inch papers. If you are not using a strong one, such as Cartabella, or at least 110-pound weight, what I would suggest is that you're going to put 2 pieces together, and you'll need 3 pieces of 8.5. And so if you're going to put it together for extra strength, then you're going to go ahead and need 6 pieces. Well, no, you'll need 5 pieces. You can get 2 for the last one. Then you'll want to go ahead, and I would use my score tape to put it together. The glue can crack and break, especially when you're scoring, unless you have a really super special glue or something you're using that you trust. So we need 3 pieces. Now they're 8.5, and you're going to cut 2 of them down to 11 inches by 8.5. If you're using 12 by 12, sorry. If you're using 12 by 12, you want to cut it down to 8.5 by 11. Then your last piece is going to be 5 3/4 by 8.5 long. Nice thing with this folio, so after you make one, you're going to see how easy it is. If you want, you can go ahead and make them any length. You can keep the 12 by 12 size. They're really fun. So let's get started. We're going to start with it doesn't matter, one of your 8.5 by 11 inch pieces, and we're going to score it 4 inches, and we're going to score it 5 inches. Now on the next one, you're going to score at 1, 2, 8, sure in there, and 8.5. The beauty of these things, you can put chipboard on the covers, but with no chipboard on it, it's flexible, it's easy to carry if you want to take it traveling. Okay, let's go ahead and just do it by our score marks here. same thing. Okay, now when I put my book together, I do this every time. Sorry, I have, oh, we have this little piece. So the piece that we scored at the 4 and 5, see, that's going to be our first flap that's going to fold over. Then this will go here, that's our hinge, and then, okay, camera. So this will be our second piece, and then our third piece will go right there, and that'll be the extension that folds over to the front. So we can go ahead turn this over. You know me from watching my videos, I have to double check myself. So let's just go ahead along in the front of that score line. And I'm just going to take 3 pieces, or you can just do your ends. Now over here, I'll just go all the way around the perimeter, basically. And this is your middle piece of the book. And it's the only piece that we're going to put our score tape on. Make sure that's down. Cut off any score tape that's hanging over your edge. Now, this is where we want to make sure you're putting everything down perfectly straight. This is going to go on this piece. Okay, so just like I do anything else, I'm going to turn this around. I'm going to bring this piece over here, and I'm not going to remove all of my score tape, because this one I worry about a little bit more, getting it even more straight. So I like to just remove some of my score tape here. Then I want to match up my edges. Not going to worry about pushing it down too tight right now. I'm going to line everything up. Okay, now I'm going to just hold in front of this tape as I'm pulling it off. Then you should have a really nice straight edge there. And now your book's getting longer. Now, on this little book, it's really cool. You can leave it like that if you're just wanting to make a smaller one. Of course, you wouldn't tape it there. So you would just have that double fold over, but we're going to go ahead and add our last piece to make this even bigger. Now, once again, what I'm going to do, let me show you. Because I understand when I first started, I was a nervous wreck trying to make sure everything was lined up. And I was using clips, everything to hold my paper on here to make sure it's straight. And that's when I thought there's got to be an easier way. So I'm just going to remove a tab there, a piece there. Once it's secure and it will hold, then I can take that one off. That one can come off. And then I can just, oh, that's right, we had the inside on this one. That's why you want to leave this bottom open. Forgot to tell you that part. So now I'm just going to remove that piece, because there won't be a problem now. And everything will just lay down flat. And then everything will match up. These seams will be hidden. Now, I have taken these little books too in the past. Let me show you. And what I will do is I will go ahead and put chipboard here chipboard here and on the back. I just leave these, I don't chipboard the edges. So if you want to do that, you can, but not necessary. So while I'm working on this, I'm going to go ahead and move my scoreboard so I don't have that drop-off type of edge. Now, we're going to have ribbon. We need to have ribbon here because we want it to be a tie closure. So however you want to mark it to remember. I'm great at forgetting. And then our other piece of ribbon actually is attached to the back. See, and it comes down around like that. So the other piece of ribbon actually going to be attached clear back here. And now inside, we're going to have some more of our ribbon attached to make our booklet. But we won't do that yet. So let's go ahead and get started with our decorating. And I'm just going to go grab my papers, put them out in front, and we'll see how this one turns out. Let me get some more room, and let me go grab my papers. Okay, I have mine all cut, and I went ahead and did something I don't usually do. I went ahead and I inked all my edges. I don't usually do that, and I didn't do it in my other one. I just wanted that really world traveler old look. So I thought I'd give it a try this time. So you want to cut, right now I'm just doing the inside because my cover, I don't usually even cut those papers till I get an idea or feel how I want it to look. So this piece is 4 by 8.5, and I cut mine at 3 7/8. I always take 1/8 of an inch off the length and the width. So these are the actual page. What you decide if you want to do a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch around, or if you double mat yours. So this is 6 by 8.5, 6 by 8.5, and then your last piece is 5 1/4 by 8.5. Now your center pieces, now I did this with 2 pieces of paper. You'll have some strips left over. This is a 1 inch, a 1 inch, and 1/2 of an inch. Again, I cut mine 1/8 of an inch shorter and wider. I have ink everywhere. So I went ahead and cut all my pieces. Didn't mean to tape that one. Let me put that to the side. We'll need that on the front. And I did my other little guy. So I'm going to go ahead and just put those on first. And you'll see that your book just gets stronger and stronger as we mat each page. Just going to have to turn to this side. Ugh, that really sucked it down fast. Okay. All these, I'm going to lay all these down first. And in my other book, I did all these inside pieces the same, so I decided to do these all different. And every month now, I did hire, she was my very first design team member, Kimberly Murray, and she will be providing a project now with each kits each month. So if you are, you know, wanting to have an idea of what you can do with your kits, well, she will be putting together a little project. Let's see, maybe I'll change that. Nope. Okay, so I'll start with this one, and I just went ahead with the score tape all around my outer edges. And these do come together quite fast. I'm going to come to an angle here. For some reason I'm not Sorry, I've got to turn mine. So let me move. I'm weird. I know. I work from, there we go. This way much better. And then my middle piece. And I could have, you can actually use either side. And you may not want to be cutting your pages that have the cut apart. So that's why I didn't want to tell you use this paper, that paper, because also you may not like what I've chosen. You have your own design in mind. Score tape sticking out. And I like the way that comes together. Okay, now we are going to wait. Oh, no, yeah. We're going to wait to do our inside book, and unless you already, pretty much know, let me see what you want. Maybe we can just go ahead with that step since that's inside. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this inside piece right here, and I'll pick kind of a neutral because it's going to be where our book is going to sit on the inside here. So I think I'll go ahead and cut mine now. Sorry, I should have had that done. And this is why I don't do a lot of my decorating. I do the construction of the booklet and not a lot of the decorating online or on camera. I never know what I want to do. I get to decorating and then I totally change either course or, and so if you're okay with following along, we'll just go ahead and do this now so we can get our booklet made. Again, this is that 5 1/4 inch piece. And you will also need a piece of your seam binding that came in your kit. So you can choose, whichever color you want. So I don't get it on the seam. More this way. Okay, now for our booklet. You can take one piece if you want and use maybe printer paper inside. If you don't want to go ahead and use 3 pieces, because I did make this one. It took 3 sheets of the pattern paper. And the one thing I'm going to do different is I am going to make my booklet a little bit longer, only because when I went to make my holes and tie it, it's a little more difficult depending on the hole punch you have. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my booklet pieces. I'm going to go a full 8 inch. And I'm going to go ahead with my 8 inches. And for your width, you want to go about 10. So I'm going to cut 3 of these 8 by 10. And I will be right back with that. After, after I cut my pieces, the 8 by 10, I did score at 5. But when I fold them and you lay them down back here on the book, you want to check to make sure it's going to fit nicely. So I did trim 1/4 inch off of each side. And a lot of that just has to do with how you how I laid my piece on, and maybe I got a little shorter, it's sticking out a little bit more, so that's why you'll have just a little variation there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down because I want my holes to go through this seam here, but I want it to go through my booklet and everything. Now if you don't have the crocodile, okay, now leave about a quarter of an, no, let's leave more like a 3/8 of an inch, so your book will come almost to the edge. If you don't have a crocodile, then you can go ahead and punch these and punch this and then measure it, but I'm going to just go through the whole thing. So I'm laying my book down where I want it, and yes, there's probably an easier way, but if you watch my videos, you know me. So I'm just going to lay those down, then I'm going to get my crocodile. And the nice thing with the crocodile when you're punching, you need the big side, you can set your marker so that they're both going to be perfectly even. And you have your measurements here on the side. So I'm going to set it. I'm going to check it though before I punch it. No, I'm going to open it all the way because you don't want it clear on the end. So once you get it there, go through about the middle. And then we know we're pretty much going to be even because we set this stopper here. And of course, we're at the end. Okay, then taking one of your seam bindings, whichever one you choose. And if this is kind of a chore for you, this is where I use my plastic needles, craft needles. Love these because not only can you do the corsets on the end of your bindings, but you can just go through your holes so easily. No fighting, trying to stick it through. And they have these at Walmart. I keep them everywhere. Fix my seam binding here. Straighten it up as much as possible. And you can use ribbon. You can use, Tim Holtz has those elastic band things. You can use anything you want. I like this look. We're going to pull it quite snug. You can even double knot that if you want, or you can leave it, and that way you have it if you want to undo it and add more pages. And I'll refix my bow later on because it's going to get pretty smashed. Remove my clips, and there's my book. Now I have more room for pictures. I can tape down anything. I can journal. And then you still have room in the back for pictures. Now I made a couple of these. I don't think I did videos because it's been a long time. This was one of my first projects I ever learned to do. And I did these for school for the kids. And they gave them to their teachers. So this was school paper. They were just really cute. And I made it look like a report card folder. So you can do a lot of different projects with this. Okay, so let's move on to our front cover. Now the front is just this little corner pocket, and I'm just going to use my cutter here, it'll be easier for me to show you my good old cutter. So you're going to want one of your, should have some scrap pieces maybe from that last piece of cardstock you cut. This is 4 inches wide. So I want it to be at least 5 inches wide because we have to have the 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch guts. And I'm going to cut it down to 5. So mine's basically 5 by 5. Now I'm going to put it in the cutter. Now you've got to remember, you want, if you're going to not make it just a square pocket and you want to do it like I am, I'm going to cut it. But you want to make sure the orientation will be on the right side that you want it to open. So I'm going to put this down, even though, you know, you can turn your page over, yes. So putting this in my cutter, so I hope I can, let me bring this up here. I'm turning this, so see this tip is going to rest at an angle. That will be at the 2. Going to hold this down and I'm going to cut it off like that. Then I can throw that away. So I have to turn mine over anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and do my scoring. We are going to have to cut this one off. Sorry, I'm going to cut this off so there's just a 1/2 inch. So I did goof, but you're fine. We're fine. Let's go ahead and cut. Sorry, let me just answer my daughter real quick. We're going to cut this off, just leaving a 1/2 of an inch on that side. Grab our scoreboard. I always put it in upside down because I like my square area there. I'm going to score 1/2 and 1/2. We have to take just a hair more off. Yep. I'm just going to take a little bit off of that side. Sorry, I hope I didn't mess you up too bad on those measurements because I wasn't thinking. Okay, so we want these to go on the inside. So our tape's going to go here. 3/8 for this one. Now, because I ended up with this angle, because of my boo-boo, I'm going to just cut that off. I'm having one of those mornings. I have to apologize. I just put the tape on mine on the wrong side. Okay, I was doing good. I thought I'd get through one video. No mistake. So let me just work this score tape off. There we go. Let me put it on the right side real quick. There we go. Cut that off. Okay, we need to do our corners and this one. There we go. So now I'm going to just remove the backing there and there. And then this, you can put it anywhere you want. I'm going to leave a little bit of a border on each side. Now, when I go to mat this, I just start going through my scraps to see what I have and what will fit. And that may not, because I think it will. I really don't want to have to, oh, here we go, cut a new piece of paper. So what I do is I put it down into my pocket, like so. Then I just trace it and cut just on the inside. To trim that, yeah, just a little deeper. Now, when I'm trimming these pockets, I don't ever go from that side. I always go from this inside piece if I need to shorten it a little bit. And since I just got a little bit of a teared up look on my paper, and you know those teared up looks don't look good. Sorry, I gotta find my other scissors. So I'm just going to take my scissors, and there are little tools for this. I'm going to go ahead and just make it all look roughed up. Sometimes I'll sand off those edges with a sanding block. But since I am going for a little more rustic look on this one than I did on the other one, this gets messy. I'm going to go ahead and just ink that edge. It's a little weathered and worn. Now I'm getting ideas. I got to quit doing that because now I want to wet the paper, make it look wrinkly, which is another cute look to do. Now on here I used one of the chipboards. So for this one, actually I think I'm going to use that. Lookout World. That looks really cute. Now on these chipboards, if you've never used them from Graphic 45, they have sometimes, see how the nubbies are? So I use just a regular sanding block that I get at Home Depot. And I like to sand those off because they drive me crazy. And when you're working with the sanding block, because I do when my blades are not as sharp as they should be, I'll show you another thing that I do to keep it from getting in my paper. So let's go ahead and ink. And also when you do sand those edges off, these just seem to ink a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and use this seam binding that came. Okay, while I was off camera for a minute, I bought a new cut and boss. It's awesome, and I'll have to do a video on it. So I have a Cricut but I'll tell you what, I fight more with that Cricut. So I went to die cuts. I forgot I had cut this little piece out, and I apologize. I went in and stuck it down, and I forgot. Whoops, I'm doing a video. So you can actually add some lace. You have some lace in your kit. And then I'm going to take my seam binding. And the reason, I don't always just use my needle here, but I'm doing it especially for the ladies that are having some trouble getting stuff through these holes. So I just stick it in there, pull it through. No sticking. Then I make my loop, kind of a big loop. And for this one, now I'm going to go ahead and knot this, because we're going, you know, the goal is this is going to be used a lot, and so sometimes this will come undone, and I don't want it to be just perfectly sticking up there. Cut off my edges. Now when I attach my chipboards, I love to use hot glue with them. It's quick, it's going to bond, and I know it's going to stick. And then when it comes to your little pocket here, of course this is too wide, you'll be able to slip maybe your tickets in there, your cruise tickets, your airline ticket, and then you can just pull it out as you're going through. Still warm. Now for our centerpiece, here in the center I did these pockets, and I zigzagged the pockets, and your pockets are 3.5 by 5.5. So we're going to go ahead, they're 5.5 long by 3.5 wide, and then you go ahead and score on all 3 sides. One thing that we're trying to emphasize with our Craftology kits is that the papers maybe are papers that you yourself wouldn't buy or hadn't bought, or maybe you don't even know exist. And also, we want the beginner. It's whether you're a beginner or an advanced crafter, or you like to go to crops, it's really easy to take your Craftology box, head to a crop. And if you're a beginner, well, here's a project that you're basically going to learn pockets and just the construction. And yet it's easy, but it can also be for your more advanced crafter, because I don't want projects that are frustrating. If the project is frustrating, then you're not going to make it. I know, been there, bought tutorials and sat there and bawled. My husband said, "Is this really worth it?" And I said, "No." So I stopped buying tutorials. Some of them were just difficult, but we want everybody to enjoy what they're making. So in my 1/2 inch flaps, or 1/2 inch crease, I do use my 3/8 of an inch core tape. It fits perfect. I love the way it just sits between that crease and the edge. And you just want to go on all 3 sides. And then if you are looking to do a more advanced project after you use your Craftology box and you want more of the supplies, of course you can purchase them in my online store at countrycraftcreations.com. Okay, for your pockets, let's go ahead and let's angle off the top corner, then turn them around, and you need to angle and turn. Angle and turn. Let's do that to all 3. Okay, now before we lay down our pockets, so I'll put my book here. So you do want to start with your top one. And I did a zigzag pattern. So they do need to overlap. We need to get somewhat of an idea here so that we don't lay them down and then find they're wrong. So however you're comfortable, you can mark them with a pencil. You can eyeball it. And basically, I'll show you, you can even overlap it more. But here's the thing. We won't do the next pocket until we cover the front of this. So we cut these 3.5 by 5.5, or 3.5 by 5.5. But now that we've cut it, it's 4.5 by 3. So you just need to cut a piece of pattern paper. That is 3 by 4.5. But remember, you need to take off for your border around the edge. And so far, if you noticed, we've only used 2 pieces of paper. So this also doesn't take a lot of supplies to make. Well, that didn't include our little book. Let me go ahead and lay this one down. And then our next one. See, they're going to overlap. So I want to make sure. So it looks like I'm going to come up a little bit more right under my wording. And over to the side. Another paper. And I'm just, picking up the scraps that I used when I cut out from my other sheets. Oh, actually, that one's a cool one. So we'll go with that side. See, I'm telling you, that's why I don't decorate on camera. I start with one thing and then I change my mind to another when I see it. And every time I use this paper, I find something new and different on it. I just love it. And it all is because of the way you cut it. Oops. And let me go ahead and cut another one. It was one of the journal cards. Now on your journaling cards, so just like you would have had in the pack, so you have these smaller ones, and those are the ones that will fit in your pocket. If you want to put journaling cards. Now another cute thing that I'm going to make to go with this set is I am going to take these journaling cards and I'm going to back them, and since this is going to be a gift set, I'm going to back them, and I'm going to, I have the sleeves, I have them here somewhere. Anyway, they'll go inside the sleeve and they're going to be luggage tags. So my friend will have a whole matching set for her cruise. And then we can just stick some of the cards. Now on this one, you know, you can have your cards stick out at the top, cut them smaller and just stick them down in there a little bit more. That one I'm going to have to play with. But that's while your cards will sit inside. Okay, our next one is this middle one. This was the bigger pocket, and then our little book that will go inside. Now on this book, I did just use the printer paper. Isn't it cute? So we will need, you're going to need some of your cardstock, so I'll get this all ready. And when I get back, we'll go ahead and I'll give you the measurements and we can get that all put down. For our little pocket, you need 2 pieces that are 3 by 5, 5 by 5, 6.5 by 5. Then I did my matting, so one of them is the 5 by 5, that will be the matting of the front of the pocket, and then 2 that are 6, well, they're 5 7/8 by 5, 4 and 7/8. Excuse me. These will be my cover and then the inside. So that's our matting, and we're going to start with the 2 that are 3 inches. Now the reason I did these so wide is I wanted a good sized pocket. I wanted it to be accordion out quite wide. Now the wider you go, the fatter you can make your pocket. So we're going to score these at 1, 1.5, and 2. Score at 1, 1.5, and 2, and then that left me an inch on each side. Now your 6.5 inch piece, turn it to the side and score it at 1/2. Now let me show you on these. You just accordion, fold your hinge pieces or your gussets. So that's what it's going to look like. It looks like one hinge. So if you're laid down in a book, you've got a 1 hinge book. So that is what's going to go down so that it will open nice and wide. So just fold over, fold towards you, fold back. Now you'll need your 5 by 5 inch piece. Now when you're laying these down, and we're going to go ahead and cut our edge just a little bit, you'll see that you want it to, you want this valley on the outside, and on the inside will be the mountain. Now, let me double check. No, I didn't. Okay, I didn't cut mine at all, but you will want to use some, we're going to use some glue along the bottom, and I'll show you, so that when this is held down, see, then it becomes the accordion. Now, I am going to go ahead, and use my tape, if I can find it. How do I lose a roll of tape? There we go. Now, along this first score mark, and then I'm just going to go along this edge here and along here. And you'll have to do that on all 4 pieces, or you can just do the 3. Now remember, your mountain is going to go on the inside. Let's just do some. I'm going to go ahead and remove, if you did it this way, my 2 end pieces. Once again, remove that little bit of score tape. Back one I'll have to remove a little bit more so I can get it to the top. Then I'm just going to line this up. Once it's lined up, and you can remove your score tape. These will be taken off, and that's what's going to adhere to the page. So that's what it will look like. Sorry, gotta grab the coffee. Okay. Notice I got a little bit of tape hanging over here. And a recrease there. Remember, your mountain's going on the inside. And remove those 2 ends. Make sure they're right across from each other. Right up top to bottom. Now you want to make sure you really burnish that down. Did I? Oh, wait a minute. I did. Did I do mine backwards? I did. That's okay, because you know what we're going to do. Now, if you're using Cartabella cardstock, you can pretty much get away with this. This time I can't. So, let me remake mine, and I'll be right back. Okay, I hope I did it right this time. So this is how the back should look, and it should have your mountains on the inside. So if you were to lay this down like this, so you would have a hinge. Cool, huh? I have another tutorial with that coming up too. So I'm going to make sure I'm about almost half of an inch, I would say. No, more like 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. No exact measurement or placement. And I'm going to go ahead and remove the back of all the score tape. Make sure nothing is sticking over the edges. Best way for me is I hold these down as best I can. Yes, it's going to be sticky towards the bottom. Place it where you think it will be best, keeping these 2 guys together because you want your sides pretty much together, and something's there we go. I want to keep those edges so they are down. And then really give that some good pushes. And yes, it will be open. So it's up to you what you use. You can use a wet adhesive. You can put score tape underneath there, but it's not going to hold with that booklet because I know I've tried. I ended up gluing. My favorite really is with these kind of projects is my hot glue gun on high. I just run a bead along the bottom underneath there. Then I push it down. Make sure it's on high if you're going to do that. And if any seeps out, it's quick to get off. Won't make your paper shiny. And it's going to hold. Now once you hold it, now it's going to hold these bottom pieces together also a little bit, and that's what you want to give it this accordion pocket. So it's down. I know it's going to hold. Your corners will flex up a little bit. If that bothers you, you could glue them down. I don't, because I like to have that expansion. It gives you that little bit more expansion. And that's actually my score tape at that hinge coming up, so I'm going to add a little more of the glue. When I'm crafting, I do leave my glue gun just on the whole time until I'm done, and I go upstairs because you'll find so many quick uses for it. Chipboard, best way, and trust me, it's not coming up. And if anybody tells you it is, you'll be ripping your book apart. So let's go ahead now. We have our other piece, the 5 by 6.5. Now I rounded the edges on my other one, but I'm not going to round the edges on this. And it is going to pucker. If that bothers you, one way, if you don't like that puckered old-fashioned backpack look, you can do another 1/2 inch. I mean, you could do a 1/4 inch gusset. So let me do that with you on this one, since if you've never made one. So we scored it 1/2, and then you can even make it as much as a 1 inch. I mean, a 1/2 inch gusset. So I'm going to just go ahead with the 1/2 and 1 to give you an idea of the difference. And it all depends on you and if it bugs you. So now see, you have a gusset, and when you put it down, you won't have as much of a pooch. Let me show you. Remember the old leather backpacks, or maybe you're too young and it has that poochy look, kind of rounded. So I liked it. That's why I did it on that one, but this one I'll go ahead this way. Now, one thing you want to decide, do you want to go ahead and round your edges? Do you want to leave them square? And I am going to leave them square. Now, the reason I did the 6 inches, you've got quite a ways to decide where do you want this. I wanted mine at the top because I wanted to get a bigger book. I wanted to make sure I could put my 4 by 6 inch cards, and you do have some 4 by 6 inch cutouts on your paper line. So let's go ahead with the score tape. Now just go back here on this first hinge. And one thing I should have done, and that's where I goofed on this book too. Actually, this can go underneath your matting if you do it first, but the problem is you don't have this built yet. And I'll show you. So I did the decorative edge, which is fine too. And you will need a magnet. So I'm going to have this right there at the top. You do want to make sure you're lining up with your backpack, at least on one edge as you're doing the top. Now see, that'll give you like a box look at the top. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to go ahead with my magnet now. And as you know, Basic Gray won't be carrying the magnets anymore. They are still looking for someone. See, they manufacture these magnets. So these aren't the same as your Basic Earth or Gray. I can take a Basic Earth actually and break it in half. You can't with these. And these also have, well, the ones we're getting that we have left, you'll notice the packaging is different, and they also are easy to remove the backing. So it's really sad The owner lives very close to me. They had talked about keeping them, but they've decided not to. So I'm going to make sure, and mine did grab down only because this is a magnetic mat. So you don't want to pull it too hard because if you've got that gusset, you want to make sure you still have that gusset. Pull it to the side when you come up. Make sure you are leaving room so your paper won't show. I like to leave an inch or more. And there you go. Now we can go ahead and mat it. That's only pulling down, like I said, because of my mat. So anyway, yes, the basic grade magnets will no longer be available soon. So I put in a huge order and I will go pick it up on Tuesday, which is tomorrow if you're getting this video today. Let's see which way to go. We'll go that way. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do without my basic gray magnets, but you may have to go to a different brand. There's not a lot. If you're OCD like me, you don't want things to show, but we'll get there. What I'm hoping within the next couple of days, because the last time I can ever pick up these magnets will be on February 15th. So I'm hoping between then somebody will step up and say we'll take over the manufacturing if you'll with them, and we won't have to worry. But right now it's not looking too good. That's what I'm going to put my stripes on the back. So now I need to cut my paper down because this is a smaller area since I took a ½ inch away. Just take them up here to my cutter. And if you did make the gusset, I will be putting that 3/8 of an inch strip of pattern paper there because I won't want to leave it plain. And then I'll show you, we're going to do a little decorated strip there because I don't like those showing. And I usually put them under my papers. That. So as you can see, you can get one of these folios done quickly, especially when you're not listening to me. If you're not, having to do the tutorial, because once you get this basic part done, it's so simple to just put one together, and these make wonderful, let me tell you, baby shower gifts, and use the baby papers. They are wonderful. Put one together the day before with your baby paper, and they're adorable. Now, one thing that I've done in the past here, I do the waterfall here also. So you can do a waterfall, you can do your photo mat, and then you can do your side pocket. Gosh, you could do any combination of any fantastic scrapbooking that you want in these books once you get your basic shell built. Ah, let's get things straight. Okay, one thing you may have is a sticker sheet in your kit, and there is this train sticker. So if you don't have a cutter at home, so you may want to just go with one of these. Right across the top, and you can cut them on your cutter, I just take my scissors, and that'll give that a little bit of a cover. And then in there, I will go ahead with my, let's see, it looks like I've got a piece already from that piece that we cut off. I just need to trim it. Just a hair. Make sure it won't get in the way of the folds. Nope. This piece of 3/8 should fit just fine. Just line it up with my other paper. Now on this first one, I did use a border punch, so let me show you. So I took a border punch right here. And also, so if you wanted to have it open, I mean, things will fit in there. So if you've got something shorter and you don't want it to move around, you can put your cards up in there. That was kind of my purpose there. I'll leave our book out now so we can get it cut. Oops, everything's sticking. Okay, so there's your pocket. Now on the other pocket, then I used a couple of chipboards. And I've lost my sheet of chipboard, so we'll come back to that. And they'll show up here in the pile. Yes, they did. So I won't be using the same chipboards because, of course, I don't want to open a new pack. So I think I'll just take, not too much the same color. Let's go with Dream. And then I had a longer one on my other one, but because I really don't need a longer one. So you can use a chipboard on there, or let me show you what else you can do. Let me grab one. Sorry, I'm here. I just had to run over. So what I'm going to do, and that won't, it's really, I'm going to go ahead on this one. Since I have room, I'm going to make sure, yep, there will be room. I'm going to use my handles. Now when you're using these metal things, I find that Glossy Accents or E6000, or you can use your brad. I'm just going to glossy accent that down while we're working on our book, and I'll move that over to dry. Bottle. So for our booklet, our booklet is going to be 4.5. You're going to cut your first piece of cardstock 4.5 by, leave it at 12. So 4.5 by 12, we're going to score it at 6. Board back. Score this at 6. Now you'll want to get your paper. Like I said, I just used computer paper. I didn't see the sense in doing the pattern paper because I wanted this to be for writing. Excuse me. So you'll want to take your computer paper, and the nice thing too, again, you can untie it and you can take out what you want. So I'm just going to grab some paper, and you do want this to be the full length, so it'll be 11. So just cut it down to 4. Actually, I did. I cut my computer paper down to 4. Wait a minute. Let's cut it down to 4. This booklet was a little bit bigger, and it was tight, and so I don't want that again. We're just going to manually fold it in half. If you want to go through and score each piece, you can. And then that will fit right in there. And again, what you'll do after you mat, you want to mat the inside and outside. Then again, go ahead and center it. I'm not going to mat mine right now. I'm going to go ahead and right in the center. There. Okay. Piece of the cream. Well, my fingers still have some glossy accents, so they're sticking to the needle. And we really got a long piece here. Pop that through. Straighten it up. So you can still do this before you mat it. And just bring it to the top. Sometimes it helps too if you have somebody else that will hold that down for you. And there you'll have your little booklet. So you can jot down memories. And then you can also refill it, take them out. All right, let's see, this should be, yeah, we're good. So that's going to fit nicely inside. Then I'll do some cut aparts from the book, from the paper line. That will close. Then we have our pieces that we want to put down. Whoops. Oh, I was going to show you something too. A lot of times I know I'm sanding over my work and it does get messy, so air, just quick shot of air, and it cleans off your area. Makes it so you don't get any of the shavings when I'm shaving paper or whatever. And then again, hot glue. Clean up that hot glue as it comes out. And there you have the inside of our book. That over there. So you have your left-sided pocket. Then you have your individual pockets. Okay, oh, on the pockets, let's go through and do the little bit of decorating on that. With your chipboards, there are some squares. They were here and they were here, sorry. And I had used those on the corners, but since I don't have those anymore, I'm going to go ahead with some different ones. And you can tie ribbons if you like, or we can use the cars. I think they'll be big enough. No, maybe we'll just do this one a little different in the areas here. One of a different look. Don't want to go, there we go. I don't want it to get in the way of my pocket at all. And I'm going to use beads, so I won't worry about those little holes. And actually, I'm not even going to worry about these little guys because there's not a lot of those yucky edges. But there are here. See, that just for some reason drives me nuts. Okay, ink it. Sure won't be in the way of the pocket there or your score. Now another thing, if you don't have the beads, or you don't have, the little centers, you can take these little flowers out of your chipboards that are here, and you can also set them there. That's cute. And you can ink them. I a lot of times just don't bother with these little guys. I'm going to set it up a little to the top just to cover that hole if you don't like it showing. Ow, that one was hot. Got some glue, so I'm just going to take it off. Okay, and there we have the inside of our book. And you can decorate the front of your little booklet. I did not, because that's where she can put pictures. Then we've got our little page. They weren't quite ready. Just have that re-stick. There we go. That'll hold it down. And then you'll have plenty of room in there. And now we have this side, which I can't do right now. So let me put this away. Let me grab this one. Let me show you. See, this is a little tight. So on here, all I did, you've already got your paper. We've got the paper down because we have this ribbon here. So I made a photo mat. And my photo mat is about 5 and an eighth by 4 and an eighth, and then I cut my mat 4 by 5 chipboard. And these were right here from your stickers. And I just took out the 2016. You can mat these on your paper if you want, and then you can glue them down. And then the Travel to Live was just the little sticker here on your sticker sheet. And that gives you room for your photos. Okay, now on the back, I'm going to go ahead on mine. Let's see, I should be able to do that and attach the ribbon. And then after we attach the ribbon, you'll be able to go ahead and do your matting. And it's the exact same size as you cut your matting for the inside. And then I'm going to decorate the outside of this one. So let me show you how I did the ribbon. And as you probably know, I don't really measure. I just grab. Grab this one. So I'm going to put the first piece of ribbon right here on the front. I want to go ahead and square off my edge. Now, when I'm putting down ribbon this thin, I won't use a hot glue gun. Otherwise, you're going to get bumps, and it's just not going to lay very nice. But I am going to use my 3/8 of an inch core tape. Okay. I'm just going to lay a piece here, maybe 3 inches. Make sure everything's down. Lay that on top. Cut this after. Okay, now your other ribbon. Okay, is actually going clear on your back cover. So you will want a longer piece. Now you're only going to attach it to your back cover. So from about the middle of the page, but we need to make sure, what's the other thing? You need to make sure you line up. So what I do, those clips aren't letting me close correctly. So what I do is I take my seam binding or my ribbon, and I'm just going to wrap it, pencil, and just basically mark where this ribbon now needs to go in between those two marks. Take that about halfway into the book. Now the reason I'm measuring it onto my ribbon is I don't want it to be on the edge of my ribbon and hang over the book, because it'll be a mess. It'll be stuck and you'll be unhappy. Here's the fingernail there. And make sure you go between those two lines. Now, when we mat this, see, we'll just mat over the top. And that's why I like to use seam binding on these little folios, because it'll lay better, your paper. So you'll cut your 7/8 of an inch strip to go there. And then, let me show you, this will come like this. Do not attach this, okay, this ribbon, put it underneath your paper here. But don't lay it down and cover your paper, or you're going to be very unhappy. It needs to be hanging loose from here, okay? But I put it behind this little 7/8 of an inch strip. And then it will tie. And you want to make sure you don't cut your string till after you get all your mats inside and whatever you're going to do, so that you don't cut these too short. So I'm going to open mine so I can let my handles continue to dry. And then after you, there we go, after you get all your matting done, so you're going to mat the back right on top of your seam binding. Now see how it's underneath there? 7/8 of an inch strip here, because these were 1 inch, and also here. This was your 4-inch piece, and then it will tie. And you can also photo mat this if you like. I like to leave mine plain. Stick cute pictures there. Then we open it. Okay, I'm going to tie it shut. And this one, see, I know I cut my strings a little short, but that's okay. Now, your front cover, you've got to remember, you're going to, if you're using this for traveling, you want to be able to put it in your bag. So, unfortunately, you're probably going to not want a lot. Now, that's why I did the fabric flowers instead of making the flowers with you, because you don't want, these are going to squish. When you're using a fabric flower, then they're not going to squish as much, and that's why I chose those. And then you have lace, and you can put your lace along the side, you can put on your seam binding. Again, it is more of a flat lace. I don't have any left, and so I did go ahead and cut some die cuts that I want to use, and I did die cut some flowers. I'll probably just use one because I want to use the chipboard. Now, before I stick anything down, it's always best to lay out. Just trying to get this other one off. Sometimes these are in there pretty good. So you want to lay things out and see. Now, I want to show you something. The frames and things, you're going to use it and you're like, it's too big. So turn it. Turn it. Then take your centerpiece. And then again, you can use, let's see, we've got quite a bit of, so you can use another piece, or you can use some burlap, something you have in your stash. And then you can also bring a smaller flower. So see, there's a lot of different ways that these chipboards can be used. They don't have to be used exactly, you know, like they're laid out on the chipboard pack. So you can do a lot of different things with your folio. On this one though, I think I am going to go ahead and do let me show you, a crinkling out look with this. And then I'm going to have my chipboard on it. So this is just a scrap piece. I don't even measure when I do these. These are like your mats. So if you're having some maybe issues and you're wondering, how do I layer my covers? Just start with your scraps. Grab your scraps. Start playing with them. Get your water bottle. Play with your water bottle. Get your paper wet. Now, when I wet Graphic 45 paper, though, let me tell you, I am a little more careful. It's just how Graphic 45 is. So I'm just going to crinkle this up. I'm going to hold it in a ball for just a moment. And I swore I would never get one of these, but I took my coupon down to Joann's. I'll tell you, I absolutely love it. So we're going to have a little noise. It's the heat tool. And if you like to make flowers or emboss, it's wonderful. You can also heat up your page and help remove the score tape. It works fast. It is hot. So now I want to start unraveling this. I'm pulling it apart as it's drying. I'm getting some tears in it, and that's okay. dry in no time. I'm just going to smooth it out some. So now you can have, I can use it with the flour. It just adds a little bit of extra texture. Now I'm going to take my score tape. Oh, and when it tears like that, I just go ahead and I use my distress ink. And then it almost looks like it was intentional. Sometimes you'll get little tears in here, and if you really want to get that I'm older look, piece of paper. Some pieces of score tape down and avoid the tear because I want that tear there. And what's kind of neat, it gives it a really crunchy feel. And if you don't have a heat tool, blow dryer will work. It'll just put it on low. It won't do it as quickly, or you can leave it to dry overnight. And there's probably 1,001 techniques on how you do this. Remember, these are just mine. I don't. This is how I do it. So if you see that I'm doing something that I could do easier, and you want to share it with a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay, I'm just sanding off my little pokey things. Give this a little bit of ink here. And another thing, so if you're making this maybe for yourself or a good friend, you could tell her when you come back, then I'll decorate the front. If you don't want to have it decorated before you go on your travels, then you can do that. That way you won't have to worry about it coming apart. So I had made a blue flower too. And then you have some charms that were included in your kit, and the charms would look just adorable placed around the top. And with the charms, again, I use glossy accents. So that is all there is to making your little folio. And then just playing where do you want things? Do you want to add a chipboard on the cover there? Actually, I think I do. Sometimes I will just lay the chipboards and the flowers and the ribbons and the lace out, and then I walk away and come back and see if I still like it. And then if you're a card maker, I have found too with mini albums of any type, if I kind of treat the cover like a card, it just seems easier to decorate for some reason in my brain. It's 4 right there. Now, if you're giving this to someone you know they're going to travel and take it with them, then I wouldn't do anything intricate. Like if you're going to put pearls around it, I would definitely say, bring it back to me when you get home, and then I will do some decorating on it for you. But one thing I know, my friend is traveling in car, so this won't get stuffed in a case too much. Now, after I put my flowers down, I'll fluff them up. And this flower was done with one of the Sizzix dies. And then you can make your smaller flowers if you want to have more You can make leaves, just depending on, you know, what you want to do on the front. So I hope that this tutorial gave you a few ideas of what you can do with your kit. And I know that you're going to really enjoy working with this paper. It's fun, it's pretty. You can do a lot with it. Put your tags in here. Do some fussy cutting, really decorate it up, and be sure to show us if you're on Facebook and in the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations group. Be sure to come on over, show us your creation. I know that we would all love to see what you made with the kit. And so again, until next month, we will have another special little project, and it will be done by Kimberly Murray. She's the new Craftology kit. Gosh, I forgot what she was. She's my Craftology kit coordinator. There we go. She'll be not only helping to put the kits together, but she's very artistic. So she'll be adding some really fun and different items than these last couple of months. So I'm really excited to have brought her on. And I can't wait to share next month's project with you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.